Hello and welcome to the Cloud Gaming Report, your weekly news source for everything going on in the world of cloud gaming. I'm your host Zach, and in today's video I'm going to be kicking off by talking about the newest feature for Parsec, which is two-factor authentication. So Parsec recently added two-factor authentication to their Windows and Mac apps. This can be enabled from the account section inside of the settings within the Parsec app. At this point in time, two-factor authentication is not compatible with Android, Linux, and Raspberry Pi. So if you do enable two-factor authentication on your Windows or Mac PC, you will no longer be able to access your Parsec account if you are using the client also on Android, Linux, or Raspberry Pi. So hopefully we see support for two-factor authentication on those client platforms in the very near future, so you can fully enable two-factor authentication and better protect your Parsec account. I am a huge fan and highly recommend two-factor authentication for every service out there that does support it, and especially if they use a service like Google Authenticator or Authy, where you have a code, and it's a little bit better than phone two-factor authentication, simply due to social engineering and phone numbers being compromised. There have been several cases of that happening in the past, especially if you are a public figure that has a bigger following or something along those lines. So anyways, I highly recommend two-factor authentication, and Parsec now supports it at least for some of their client app platforms, and hopefully we see the remaining platforms adding two-factor authentication in the near future. Moving on from there, we had a kind of busy week this week with two AMAs from both Shadow as well as Parsec. So for the next section, we're going to focus on Shadow's AMA. So there's two bits of information that I wanted to highlight from the AMA. The first of which is the new US data centers. The East Coast data centers should be up by the end of summer, so that looks like the next 3-month window. So hopefully by mid-September, we should see the East Coast data center up. So that is awesome news. I've had so many comments about people asking if Parsec supports the East Coast, how will it work? And I'm in the mid part of the US, so like with Paperspace, I'm pretty much right between the two data centers. So I have a decent or pretty good experience really with both of those, simply because I'm not too far from either one of them, because I'm right in the middle. But people on the East Coast are not going to have a great experience with Shadow right now because it's all the way over in California. So when we see the launch of the East Coast data center, pretty much anywhere you are in the US, you will have at the very least a decent experience or a very good experience if you're closer to the data center. But they are going to be expanding beyond just the East Coast data center with total US coverage by the end of the year. They didn't announce exactly what that entails, where the data centers are going to be for sure, but we do know there will be an East Coast one, and they are saying there will be total US coverage by the end of the year. So maybe they might have one in the center US where I'll have even lower latency, making it an even better experience with Shadow. Second topic about Shadow that I wanted to cover today is someone had a question, and I'm just going to quote the full question and answer for you guys. So the question is, when will the US users be caught up to those in the EU? CPU upgrades, snapshot, and self-reset features. The answer is, this is a supply issue. The needed parts equipment just isn't available right now. We want this as much as you do. So hopefully we'll see the CPU upgrades to the snapshot features, and I don't even know exactly what that is because I haven't seen it, but apparently it's available in the EU. Snapshots in general allow you to take essentially an image of your computer. This is available in Paperspace, for example. You can take a snapshot and just recover that, so in case your computer gets compromised or you do something and it completely boinks it and breaks your cloud computer, you can always recover that snapshot and not have to reinstall all your software and re-log into all your accounts such as Steam, Origin, and so on and so forth. So it'd be interesting to see when that comes, if it's free or if it costs additional money. I'm very much looking forward to the storage upgrade because they said after that launches, they're going to allow storage upgrades beyond just the upgrade of the data itself, but like additional premium features where you can purchase additional storage, which will be very interesting to allow me to possibly video edit on the cloud. That'd be cool to use a high performance, because my computer here is starting to get a little bit old and it's starting to show its age a little bit. So that's about it for the Shadow AMA. There is some more details that will be linked in the description below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening to the podcast. As always, this will be linked in the podcast description. So there are some other topics there. If you're completely new to cloud gaming, there might be some details that you're not aware of. You can always go and read that. The Parsec AMA also had a couple of cool snippets. I'm going to go over that here now. So some details, there's two main details: the Parsec Finder snippets, or the Party Finder snippets, and some details about the Parsec web client. So talking about the Party Finder, here's a direct quote from the AMA. So we have some huge Party Finder updates coming soon that I think you'll be really happy about. We've gotten a ton of feedback on our closed alpha and have been working hard to take the next iteration on it. And yes, in-party chat will be a thing. All connections made through Party Finder must use the approved apps system, so no desktop access, and only support controller input, no mousing, no keyboard. So it sounds like there's going to be some huge things coming in terms of Party Finder. This is a huge special feature of Parsec. It's something that's totally unique with Parsec as far as I'm aware. The ability to allow multiple users to connect to your computer, whether that be a computer that you're hosting if you do have a very good upload speed, or a cloud computer. You can share that with your friends and play games that do support local multiplayer. So it is a very cool feature. I haven't had the chance to test it too much, simply because most of my friends were kind of all dispersed. And while the distance isn't too big a factor, the internet that some of my friends have isn't great. So being able to play games or to utilize cloud gaming where they live isn't completely viable at this point in time. I'm hoping 5G and future internet infrastructure that's being built out will hopefully solve that maybe in the future, but at this point in time I haven't been able to take a lot of advantage of that. But it is a very cool feature of Parsec and something I'm looking forward to see kind of where it evolves and where it goes from here. So news on the Parsec web client, which I actually haven't heard about before, but here's some news about some testing that they have been doing with the web client, and that is a feature of Rainway where it works directly from the web. So here's a direct quote: we have a working web client, but we haven't felt comfortable releasing it. Our philosophy with Parsec was to go as low level as possible to squeeze the best performance out of all the components. To do that, we unwrapped and rebuilt a lot of the fundamentals around networking, video processing, rendering, and screen capture. Overall, we're really happy with the results. The performance in the browser is getting good, but as of today, we feel it's not quite ready to deliver the true Parsec experience. Things are changing rapidly here though, so count on seeing something soon. So that'll be interesting to be able to utilize Parsec straight from the web browser. So that way, if you are on a public computer, you could possibly utilize Parsec without having to use Parsec off of a USB drive or have to worry about trying to install Parsec on a device. So that'll be interesting, a new avenue to access Parsec. It also might allow you to access Parsec like on an iOS device, because currently at this point in time there is not a Parsec app for iOS, and it could even be a decent experience for Android, maybe even better than the native Android application. So interesting to see where the future is going to take Parsec. It is one of my favorite apps for cloud gaming at this point in time. I will be testing Rainway a little bit further though, and they do have a web client at this point in time. So if you are looking for a cloud gaming streaming software that supports a web client, you can check out Rainway that's a tongue twister, I don't know what it is. Rainway right now. Or you can look out for the future of Parsec, and it might have a web client version in the future. So moving on from there, we have GeForce Now games that have been added this week. On 6/27, we have quite a few games with Blaze Blue, Cross Tag Battle, Cultist Simulator, Human Fall Flat, Lineage 2, Naruto Shippuden, Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. I totally butchered that, sorry guys. Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor Martyr, World of Warships Europe, and on 6/29 they added the Crew 2, and they also just announced on their Twitter that Realm Royale, the new Battle Royale game, has also been added to GeForce Now, but that wasn't in their forum post. If they did make an additional forum post, I'll make sure to link that, but it wasn't in the forum post when I looked earlier today. Moving on from there, we have some news from Flickstick, which is also a website that I contribute to every once in a while when I actually do write an article on cloud gaming. I'm kind of bad about that, but I'm trying to get better, guys. But anyways, more to the point, Flickstick, or Josh from Flickstick, has posted an article about Blizzard and that they're banning cloud gaming. So here's some quotes directly from the Blizzard EULA that Josh found, and I'll have direct quotes from the EULA, or however you say that, EULA, if you can abbreviate that in spoken language. So here we go. Cloud computing, use the platform including a game in connection with any unauthorized third-party cloud computing services, cloud gaming services, or any software or service designed to enable the unauthorized streaming or transmission of game content from a third-party server to any device. And continuing on later on, they have, quote, Blizzard may suspend or revoke your license to use the platform or parts, components, and or a single feature thereof if you violate or assist others in violating the license limitations set forth below. So in short, Blizzard is against cloud gaming. They don't want you playing their games utilizing cloud gaming. I'm not really sure why. I think it's because for anti-cheat measures, the way that streaming clients capture the video, it might look like it's a cheating software possibly, and they can't really distinguish between that. I do know that people have had issues with Overwatch in the past, primarily. I don't know about World of Warcraft. I did have a user that requested me to make a WoW video, so I actually downloaded WoW and was actually trying to upgrade or level up a character to a high enough level to get to an interesting area to make a video, but I guess that's all for not now. So sorry for the guy out there that requested the WoW video. I guess you probably won't see that anytime in the near future. So not good news all in all. I know I have had several people request Overwatch as a video, and I was definitely working on that too. So I guess I'm gonna have to scrap a lot of footage. I might end up making a video about what could have been maybe, but I guess we're at this point now until we can otherwise convince Blizzard cloud gaming is going to be banned on the platform. And if you do tempt fate and utilize cloud gaming, you could find your account banned and you will no longer have access to some of your favorite games such as Overwatch, WoW, or StarCraft. So a very sad news topic for the world of cloud gaming, as a lot of cool stuff is going on. We do occasionally have some bad news to report. So the final article that I want to talk on today is Rainway. It's another security topic, which is very good news. So Parsec has added two-factor authentication, and Rainway has a very cool article on how they utilize encryption to encrypt all users' connections. So Rainway has built LockerCert on top of the Let's Encrypt platform. This allows Rainway to bind a user's IP to the routing service and then get a SSL cert from Let's Encrypt. They're able to do all this in a matter of a few seconds. So if you think about it, and especially if you do web design or have any experience with web development or anything along those lines, you know, several years ago before Let's Encrypt came around, it was pretty costly, but also time consuming to get an SL cert. So it's pretty impressive that Rainway is able to use Let's Encrypt, which is a great platform. They've done a lot of good things for securing the web. So it's very awesome that Rainway is able to do all that in a matter of seconds, automatically bind the user's IP and set all that up through DNS records so that you can get SSL cert for your connection to Rainway and access your computer through the web browser. So it's a pretty cool tech that they've set up. And all in all, it's great because having a secure connection to your computer is very vital. I'm looking at you, Liquid Sky. I hope they fixed that, but I have not heard for sure if they have fixed their security flaw or not, where their connection was actually completely unencrypted. So hopefully we hear news from that in the near future, but definitely it's very good to see these companies are focusing at least in part on security, because it's great and all to have cloud gaming, but to have it completely unencrypted and not secured in any way at all is not good at the same time. So all in all, a lot of news this week, some two good AMAs. If you are new to the world of cloud gaming, you can go read those AMAs for some other details that you might not be aware of. A lot of new games added to the GeForce Now platform, and to kind of put a little bit of bummer on this week's episode, we have some sad news about Blizzard banning cloud gaming on their platform and for all games that they directly publish. Josh did have a side note though that I wanted to highlight, that Activision hasn't updated their EULA yet, or their end user license agreement at this point in time. So at least for Blizzard games, you're still fine to utilize cloud gaming and cloud gaming platforms. It's just Blizzard games specifically at this point in time. So guys, I hope you found this week's episode of the Cloud Gaming Report entertaining as well as informative. Hopefully it got you some good news out there. Hopefully if you do play Blizzard games and you want to utilize cloud gaming, make sure your voice is heard. Reach out to Blizzard, reach out to their Twitter, on their forums, and so on and so forth, so that they hear us that we're not super happy about their ban of cloud gaming. We're probably a very small minority, though, of people that play on Overwatch and StarCraft and so on and so forth. So I don't know if our voice will be heard, but it doesn't hurt to at least try. So once again, guys, thanks for watching or listening to this week's episode. If you watch this on YouTube and you also listen to podcasts on a certain app and I'm not on that app yet, do make sure to leave a note in the comments below, so that I can make sure to try to get on that app as soon as possible. I am trying to get on the Apple Podcast, but the website is not being nice at all. So it keeps on having like a login loop, and I've researched that and other people have had it, and eventually people get in. I've been trying for a couple weeks now and have not had any luck. So if you have any ideas on that too, I would definitely be open to trying something different there. But once again, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you do have any suggestions, or possibly if you would like to join me on the show to co-host an episode or possibly be interviewed, if you run a cloud gaming platform, if you're a community manager for a cloud gaming platform, reach out to me in the description below, or my email, which I will have linked in the podcast description too. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, Zach out.